Today's lesson is called Don't Sign Anything. And what I mean by that is don't sign anything. It doesn't mean don't ever sign anything. It means don't sign anything until you've had a reputable entertainment attorney review it first. It's that simple. Now, I specifically called them a reputable entertainment attorney for a reason. Not all attorneys are reputable. That's something you should know. Just because they're a member of the bar in their state does not make them great. So you need to do your homework. You need to make sure that the reputation is solid, that they don't have any pending cases against them that seem shady. It's not that hard. Do your homework, figure out who is reputable and who is not. Secondly, I say entertainment attorney because there are lots of contract attorneys out there, and they certainly can read a contract, and they can probably explain to you what the words mean in the contract. They know that much. What they don't know is they don't know how it really applies to the entertainment industry if they don't indeed work in the entertainment industry. They don't know the long-term repercussions that could come of it. And if they're reputable, then they will tell you that up front. They will say, I can read this to you and tell you what it means or what it says, but you really should have it checked out by an entertainment attorney. So that's important to note because a lot of people just want to throw a stone, grab a contract attorney, and sign away. Don't do that. So you're probably wondering, well, how do I go about finding a reputable entertainment attorney if I've never had to find one before? And I don't know the first place to start, and I don't live in an entertainment city, and all that. So first thing is, if you live in an entertainment city, then you can probably throw a rock and hit one, frankly. There's a lot of them. That's good news, though, because if you live there, it's easy to figure out real fast who the reputable ones are, right? Word of mouth is easy. You know the reputation in town. All you have to do is ask a couple people, and you'll find one. If you don't live in an entertainment city, then you should look to one of the entertainment cities. If you are wanting to get into country music, then by all means, look to Nashville. There's a ton of them there. If you want to get into R&B or hip hop, look to Atlanta. If you want to get into rock or pop, look to LA or New York. Look to one of the entertainment hub cities to find what you need. You'll have many, many options there. And if you don't know anyone in those cities and you really don't have any way to vet these attorneys, then just do a little digging, do a little homework. I mean, you're going to have to be resourceful to a certain point in this industry. No matter what you're trying to do, you need to learn to trust yourself and you need to learn to do research on things. So this is a good first lesson. Do your research. Once you've found the reputable entertainment attorney, find out if you can just hire them on an as-needed basis to review a contract here or there. Because when you are just starting out, you're probably not going to have a lot of contracts to deal with, And if you are having if you've got a lot of contracts as an artist to be, signed, you should have a manager by now, and we'll talk about that in a second. So I'm talking about the artist who, has been playing professionally for a while, and maybe somebody comes to them and says, listen, I would love to book you, but I want you to sign this exclusive booking contract with me, but I'll put you on 150 shows a year or whatever it is. Okay, well, there might not be anything wrong with that. That might be a great opportunity for you. But before you sign anything, you need to have an entertainment attorney review it because you need to understand what are you getting yourself into, especially if it's exclusive, because exclusive means exclusive. So that really may cut out some other opportunities that are right around the corner. And you need to understand that fully because you need to make an educated decision as to whether you want to go that route or not. The biggest lesson as it pertains to stuff like this, I always tell artists, do not just chase after the first shiny object. There's going to be tons of shiny objects thrown in front of you. If you just keep running after the first ones or you keep grabbing the first ones, you're going to miss out on the really great opportunities that might be around the corner. So you always want to assess the situation and figure out, is this the right move? And if I make this move, and if I tie myself to this firm or this person or whatever the case may be, what happens if a bigger opportunity were to show up 6 months from now? Do I have any flexibility? Am I able to pursue it? What does this contract that I'm about to sign actually say? So again, that's why even as a young artist, don't sign anything. The other thing that's going to happen as a young artist, as soon as you start getting a little bit of notoriety, even locally, you're going to have local managers come out of the woodwork. And I'm assuming at this point, for the sake of the story, you don't live in one of the entertainment hub cities. So if you're in your hometown in the middle America, and you have now been playing those bars and clubs for a year, and everybody knows your name there, and within a 200-mile radius, you're kind of the hot thing, you're going to have some people come out of the woodwork. They're going to claim to be managers. Maybe they are, and maybe they aren't. But they're going to want you to sign something if they offer you representation. I cannot stress enough how you should not sign anything without a reputable entertainment attorney reviewing it first. And that goes for whether they're local managers coming out of the woodwork or a big firm out of one of the entertainment hub cities. Because signing that can really affect the trajectory of your career positively or negatively. But you need to fully understand how it's going to impact you. That's probably going to be one of your first couple of contracts that you're presented with before you have representation. Booking agencies will come out of the woodwork, the boutique agencies, and the smaller managers will come out of the woodwork. So find the entertainment attorney. If you're a young professional, you may not need to sign you may not need to sign an employment contract for your first job because it's probably entry level. But it may not be long after that you do need to sign one, because you might be offered a position that they want to know you're in it for at least 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever. So you may be faced with an employment contract. That's equally as important. I actually made an error once and signed an employment contract that I shouldn't have signed without having my attorney review it. And so if you have time for the story, stay tuned. I'll tell you that story. And if you don't, I'll wrap up the lesson portion with, don't sign anything without finding the reputable entertainment attorney first. Then know and understand fully what it is you're signing. And you should be okay if you do those two things. But reputable is so important. Entertainment. If you're working in entertainment, you need someone who understands your industry, and certainly licensed attorney, not somebody who says, I know how to read contracts, an actual attorney. So that's the lesson for today. Don't sign anything without that happening first. Now, if you have time for the real world example, this is about me. I had been working in this industry probably 8 years, maybe. Yeah, probably 8. And I had read many contracts for all sorts of things. Vendor contracts and, technology contracts for projects, just all kinds of stuff. And I got offered a position, and it was a 3-year position. And of course, I had to sign a 3-year employment contract. Now, I read this contract. It was not that in-depth. It was not that complicated. I definitely felt like I understood all of it. So I signed it. And I was, excited about the job. A year into the job, I wasn't so happy, and I really wanted out. I thought, I don't want to do 2 more years here. I want to move on. And I took this contract to my attorney, and I said, can you look at this and let me know what I need to do to get out of it? And he read it, and he said, you don't have an out clause in this contract. They do. They can get rid of you, but you don't have one to leave. And I was like, what do you mean? Of course, there's got to be. He said, no, there's not. He said, why would you have signed this without me reviewing it? And I said, I thought I understood it. It seemed pretty simple. I've read a million contracts. So he said, if you really want out, they can come after you for damages. It might cost you some money to get out of this. Is it worth it? And I thought about it for a couple days, and I realized, no, I don't want to go that route. I'll stick it out. I'll try it at least for another 6 months and then deal with it if I'm really miserable. And I ended up staying through the whole contract, and then I actually stayed another couple years after that. So it all worked out fine, and I'm glad that I did. But the lesson I learned was that I will never do that again. I will never put myself in a position that I can't get out of something. And my attorney said to me, that day, when we were talking, he said, do me a favor, don't ever sign anything without me reviewing it. And I took it to heart, and I have never signed anything without him reviewing it. And he's still my attorney, and he's great. And I trust him completely. He's very reputable, and he's very knowledgeable. So that is my real world story for you, that no matter how seasoned you think you are, you still don't fully understand a contract. There's always stuff in there that you may not understand fully what it means, and it might not even go into effect for many years down the line. So, something else as a young professional you might be offered to sign, or asked to sign, I should say, is a non-disclosure agreement. That's very typical and that's very normal. And I ask people to sign them all the time. So I don't have a problem with that. But you need to understand what you're signing, because if you don't understand what you're signing, you might accidentally, without even knowing it, violate it. So you need to understand what non-disclosure really means, and what you are allowed and what you are not allowed to talk about, reveal, share with anyone, because you could be found in breach of that. And if you didn't really understand what you were signing to begin with, then you're innocently in the wrong. But it doesn't matter. In the wrong is in the wrong, and for the person who asked you to sign it, it's important. So again, just find that reputable entertainment attorney to review anything you have to sign. It's well worth the money. And again, if you can find somebody who'll work with you and just, they might offer you a flat fee just to review one agreement, that's probably the best case scenario. They might charge you for an hour of their time or a couple of hours of their time. And, I'm not saying you have to find a $1,000 an hour attorney. That might be overkill. But a good one is going to cost you some money, but it might save you so much heartache and headache and money of your own down the line. It's well worth it. So I hope that helps keep you out of trouble.